nobody asked me, but this is what I would do. I would simply remove it. The next thing I would do after that is do nothing at all. And the last thing I would do is delay it. Now, I know that's probably not how it's going to happen. It's probably going to be delayed. If you delay it, what I would do is I would absolutely make a decision now. I would delay it for a longer time than you think you need. I would make a very loud, very public announcement of a date when you're committing to make the merge. That gives you, like, if you do miss the date, that, you know, if you do miss it in 3 months, you have some flexibility.
So yesterday's meeting was really nice as far as seeing everybody kind of on the fence of what's going on. But we're going to get into more discussion about that here shortly. I mean, I'm tired of talking about Ethereum. I'm tired of talking about the difficulty bomb. I'm tired of talking about anything related to the merge, but it's very important to many of us. So welcome back for another episode of Caffeine Crypto, where I welcome you to join me with a caffeinated beverage of your choice, coffee, NOS, and whatever energy drink. Bang is the new energy drink that all the young ones love. I haven't found a flavor that I particularly like, but anyways, where we go over some cryptocurrency news, what's going on, what's happening, and talk a little bit about, you know, various topics, tech. But the stream yesterday, the ETH Dev call, was definitely something that I enjoyed. I don't know if you can get entertainment value out of a dev call, but yes, I did get entertainment value out of it, and I got some knowledge out of it. So obviously the difficulty bomb is going to be delayed. It hasn't been delayed yet, but it is going to be delayed. So basically that doesn't mean the merge is delayed, but basically that means in the short term, we should see mining profits continue to, you know, peak up a little bit. Not a whole lot. It's not like mining profits are going to go through the roof. It's just going to peak up a little bit. It's going to bring the difficulty back to where we should be around this time right now, time of filming, around 14 seconds or so. But I could tell that the devs don't want to be near 20-second block times or higher. You could clearly tell that in the meeting and the conversation and the back and forth. And there was quite a bit of back and forth, which is why I said you should check out this call. I like the chart here. Let's talk about that real quick. So Thomas lists some information or some bullet points there of, you know, what delay it, what might be bad, what might be good about it, remove it, bad or good, and do nothing. And it's funny to see how everybody reacted to that, right? So remove it was a recommendation from some of us here in the space, not only miners, but some people, because it does show, well, the devs are going to do what they need to do to get this merge done, to get it moved forward. So regardless, the merge is going through. There's no delay on that. The difficulty bomb is being delayed, but it's got to be implemented, which is not yet, but it will be soon. Do nothing will cause more damage than it would do any good, in my opinion, right? Because the block times are going to get to a point, if they don't have this merge ready to ship soon, it's going to cause congestion and issues on the network, kind of stifling the growth. And then delay it gives developers more time to finish. However, the developers, you could tell in this meeting, they want to get this done. They want to get this done. But the good thing is there's people within the community that's, okay, like, let's get this done, but let's get this done right. Okay, let's make sure we're doing this right. But we'll have to see how things, man. It's just freaking like crypto drama, man. But anyways, yeah. So Ethereum merge still on time. Difficulty bomb being delayed. I think it's EIP 15. What's the proposal? EIP 15. No, that's not it. I really don't care. Red Panda and everybody else talked this conversation into death. of what the actual EIP is. It's going to be delayed. It's going to go off at the end of June, which means in the short term, mining profitability should go up a tick. Obviously, when you're looking at profitability, when you're looking at it from a fiat perspective, it's not going to be up much because everything crashed this morning. Actually, it's probably still crashing right now. Let's take a quick look. Yeah. So I woke up this morning and just saw a nice little dip. Bitcoin starting to bounce back now, but some of the other cryptocurrencies are deep into the reds. Deep into the red. We're seeing 10+% across a majority of these altcoins, and we'll talk more about that in a minute. But going back to mining profitability, you know, people focus on the fiat value, and I focus more on the GUI or Satoshi or whatever that cryptocurrency that you're looking at. I focus on what you're actually earning of that cryptocurrency. So that will go up. What it's going to be valued at as far as fiat is a different story. So, but I mean, it's still more time for miners to accumulate Ethereum, which I know many of you are still doing, which is perfectly fine. Even though there's quite a few that jumped off the Ethereum bandwagon, and rightfully so, right? Ethereum devs and Ethereum community in general do not like miners. They really want to get off miners. There was a big conversation during the dev meeting talking about carbon emissions, and somebody said something hilarious to me, or in the chat. I think it was Micah. He's like, planets run on carbon, something like that. I don't know. I wanted to tweet at him, but I don't think he's on Twitter as much. That's the dev that came on during the EIP 1559 with us in the community. It was pretty good guy to talk to and kind of pick their brain and answer questions. But I just thought it was hilarious that they said that, because I know carbon emissions is a big problem. Yes, there is a global environmental impact, but you're making it sound like Ethereum mining is the end of the world, and it's not. There are plenty of other things out there that put out more carbon emissions than anything else. My mic just dropped a little bit for some reason. But yeah, so we'll see how things go. So Ethereum's, I got to get some articles in the description, which I'm going to work on. Good morning and good afternoon, good evening to everybody that's just joined over or joined the stream. Got to say hello to all of them. For all my future viewers, hang in there. I'll get to you in just a second and make sure we go over some news. So don't support rats. Okay, what's up? Your name is I don't know what to do. Jay Bohannon, Dave Collins, Auto. How do I say that? Automatic beats. Nice. Okay. Don't support rats. What are you saying here? All right, hang on. I'll get to questions. Any questions or concerns or comments, I'll get to in a minute. Rud Puts. All right, Rich. What's going on, Rich with Flair? Ethanol Lou. I like your name. Is that E85? What is that? All right, moving on. Ethereum just completed a successful merge. Now, this is Roaston, whatever you want to call it. During the dev meeting, they did pronounce it. I think the correct pronunciation is not Ropston, it's Roaston, but I could be wrong. So they completed the merge, right? I talked about this in my video yesterday that I dropped end of day. Basically, the merge was good, right? Everything went well. There were some issues there. They lost about 14% of participation on the network, but you know, with some triage, a little bit of fixing, talking, discussing, they were able to get everything back up and running. But it has wrapped up its first big dress rehearsal for the long-awaited makeover that's being repeatedly pushed back for the last several years. And that pushback is what's killing Ethereum, right? It's making this look, it's giving a bad name to crypto because it's basically making it look like it's unprofessional, it's disorganized, they don't know what they're doing. They do know what they're doing. They're just trying to do everything, well, we want them to do everything right? Dot their I's, cross their T's. But unfortunately, because it's, you know, been talked about for several years, and it keeps getting delayed, and even though it itself is not delayed, the difficulty bomb is, it's kind of sending the wrong message. So, and they did call it, right? If they delay something, it looks bad, must happen soon. They did call it. Thomas did call it, and the devs do know it. That if they delay the difficulty bomb, it's still going to look bad overall. Last year, Ethereum is expected to undergo the official transition from the energy-intensive proofs of work method to proof of stake. If you're living underneath a rock, you should know all this by now. But yeah, everybody wants this to happen. The miners, maybe not so much, but the miners are enjoying the profits that they have right now. Ethereum difficulty bomb delay is bad for revamp. That goes back to what I was talking about. All right, the longer they delay it, the more negative impact they're going to have on their overall ecosystem. It's going to kill confidence, and confidence in the crypto market is not exactly at a premium right now. It's not exactly high. So they got to be very careful as they move forward. And they are, right? They're heeding the advice of various personnel, whether it's the investors or whatnot. But Ethereum's Ropsten public testnet underwent the merge on Wednesday ahead of its eventual rollout of the main network. We know what POW offers. We know what POS offers. But I'm looking for a certain section here. Currently, the beacon chain and POS coordination chain that already has validators creating and validating new blocks in tandem with the main proof of work execution chain. Once the POS chain has been adequately tested and secured, the two chains will merge and Ethereum will continue as POS. Yes, we know that. Mark Cuban's bullish, whatever. All right, Brad Yasir, the founder of decentralized finance platform EQFI, said in an email that while the shift to proof of stake comes with benefits, Ethereum's proof of work model was the main feature thus far. As much as the transition from proof of work to proof of stake is seen as the next step in Ethereum's future and is expected to solve several main challenges that blockchain is facing, it's important to note that proof of work was Ethereum's DNA, Yasir said. Newer blockchains that copied Ethereum Virtual Machine, or EVM, and changed the validation mechanism or block structures or fees have launched since then, yet none have been able to take over Ethereum. Yasir stated Ether's recent price drop was partly due to the uncertainty among the community that has been supporting Ethereum by mining on it. Miners are an important segment of the proof of work blockchain community that Ethereum will alienate once it goes proof of stake. The long-term impact of this change can be significant a significant one, as many supporters of Ethereum are going to leave the blockchain for other opportunities. And as we saw with the great hash rate migration, quite a few moved over. All the benefits of a lower carbon footprint, lower fees, may not be enough to keep Ethereum relevant in the post-proof of work world, he added. Others, however, remain upbeat about the merge prospect, especially considering the significant lessening of environmental impact. We should not underestimate how important Ethereum's switch from proof of work to proof of stake has been, says the director of Choice strategy, Austin Kim. This is just a test, but at least it means that Ethereum is on the track to do what is promised. So this is with the Luna crash, the market sentiment, and everything going down about crypto. Any type of delay, whether it's the difficulty bomb delay or the merge delay, is causing people to be discouraged. I'm not discouraged, right? Because that's more time for me to mine, more time for me to help secure the network and continue to stack them GUIs, or I used to say sats, but GUI. But it does have a negative effect on the overall situation. It's positive for miners, but it has a negative effect on the overall ecosystem. However, I think it's smart, right? Bitsby Trippin called, if instead of delaying it, just remove it. Just remove it, launch, flip the switch when you're ready to go. And the devs did make it clear in the meeting that they could flip the switch in 10 minutes. They could do it right now. But they don't want to because they want to make sure everything's good, everything is up to par, everybody's going through their checklist. Because there's a huge ecosystem on Ethereum. There's a huge ecosystem on Ethereum, and we don't want to lose that. I mean, what is that? Millions, $1 billion market. Even though it's down, that's a lot of money. So you got to play smart. And this is the dip that I was just talking about. So we woke up this morning to all the markets just taking a dump. I mean, it's a good buying opportunity. However, I'm going to be real with you. This is not financial advice. I expect more pain. So play it cool. The markets, the crypto market is tied to the traditional market still. And Either they decouple or the traditional markets start to go up or return, and then crypto will outstrip that return, right? So if the traditional markets go up, is what I'm saying, then the crypto markets is going to supersede that, or it's going to go up with it, but I think it's going to go up faster than it. However, I still expect some more pain as we go through these coming months, unfortunately. Again, not financial advice. And this is why, right? So Bitcoin, Ethereum, Tumble, a CPI report points to rising inflation. This is not new. We all knew this was happening. We all knew this was coming. I can't get away from it. No matter where I turn, there's always some news article and some news outlet jamming it down my head. So inflation accelerated again in May after slowing down in April. And thank you, 4EM, for the 99 pounds. That's less than $1 for me? What is that? Like, wait, 99 pounds. Yeah, that's like 80 something cents for me. I have to go look it up. Inflation accelerated again in May after slowing down in April, which could have negative impact on the cryptocurrency markets already reeling from the Federal Reserve's tighter monetary policy. The Consumer Price Index, or CPI, rose 8.6% in 12 months through May, which is the largest 12-month increase since December of 1981. The Bureau of Labor Statistics, or BLS, reported Friday. The largest monthly gains for the CPI and an index that tracks price movements across the board or across a broad range of goods and services came from shelter, food, and gasoline. After dipping in April, the energy index climbed 9.3%. That's important, miners, on a month-to-month basis. The index for electricity increased by 1.3% in May, indicating the price of electricity has increased by 12% within the past year, which will raise the cost of crypto mining. The higher cost of energy is going to make mining more expensive, less profitable business, says Jason, chief economist of Prestige Economics. As for crypto in general, if you see people going into more defensive assets, that's not something I think would favor crypto as well. Basically, the last thing we need is a huge sell-off during this particular time, because that will cause the markets to fall even further. And that's possibly what's going to happen as the hype machine bears down or starts to turn down, and things aren't as profound as it used to be. The gains aren't as high as they used to be. People are going to be a little bit more skeptical and getting into the overall ecosystem. But we did have some positive news. Regardless on which side of the aisle you're on, and whether or not you agree. And I'll get to y'all's questions in just a moment. Hang on to your ats or super chats, and I appreciate you very much. Basically, we got a bipartisan. We got people in the political atmosphere that are trying to do the right thing. Whether they're doing the right thing or not is a different story, but it's up to us to educate them as best we can, make sure that they're fully informed of what's going on. So we have Senator Cynthia Lummis, which we heard her name a number of times, Republican of Wyoming, and Kirsten Gillibrand from New York, who's a Democrat. Authors of the Responsible Financial Innovations Act say their goal is to make consumers more comfortable with a growing industry that is still foreign to many Americans. One of the problems is that nothing is properly defined. Lummis, a fervent cryptocurrency supporter on Capitol Hill who owns Bitcoin, said in an interview, "Our bill seeks to change that so more people are more comfortable and can benefit from cryptocurrency." Key provisions in the legislation would, for the first time, define the blockchain and digital industries, designated the Commodity Futures Trading Commission, or CFTC, as the regulatory agency who will spot market jurisdiction over all fungible digital assets that are not securities. The Commodity Futures Trading Commission and the SEC, or Securities Exchange Commission, have clashed in recent years over which agency should regulate the cryptocurrencies and digital assets. The legislation would spell out definitions for digital assets, virtual currencies, payment stablecoins, and so-called smart contracts, in addition to detailing new tax implications for cryptocurrency users. So if you think you know your cryptocurrency taxes because you did it this past year, that is going to change. That's why you got to stay up to date on the current rules, regulations that we have set by our government. And each government is different, depending on which country, state, region, whatever you are. The bill is ambitious in its scope and shows the senators have to engage with the crypto community to understand the pain points in the industry where regulation and innovation intersect. said Angus Gibble, and a visitor senator research fellow George Mason University. My goodness, why do we need to know that? The industry should be regulated to protect consumers from fraud. I agree. However, at the same time, we need to be careful not to stifle innovation. I agree. In the wake of the increased fraud and scams plaguing consumers in cryptocurrency, Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen called for new regulation of the industry as at a House hearing last month. In March, President Joe Biden signed an executive order that bolstered protections for consumers and funded research for digital assets. We're still waiting on the report, which will be coming in September. Digital assets, blockchain technology, and cryptocurrencies have experienced tremendous growth in the past few years and offer substantial potential benefits if harnessed correctly. It is critical the United States play a leading role in developing policy to regulate new financial products while also encouraging innovation and protecting consumers, right? According to NBC News poll from March, 21% of U.S. adults have either traded or used cryptocurrencies, up from 10% the previous year. So we are seeing an increase in the amount of users and getting involved in cryptocurrency, and that is absolutely awesome, right? There's a lot of ability. There's a lot of room for everybody to come hang out. There's 100% a lot of room for everybody to come hang out. Now, not everybody is going to have own or get to own one full Bitcoin, but there's a lot of room for everybody to grow. So this week, let's look it up real quick. So the consensus 2022 is Thursday, June 9th to June 12th, right? It's happening right now. What am I thinking? It's happening right now. So hopefully the correct people, and they're going to be like, vultures are going to be all over these senators, right? Because and everybody's going to want to push their ideals, their thoughts, their proposals, their overall mindset onto these senators, and I'm hoping that they're not influenced so easily, right? That they heed everybody's advice, and then they make a decision that's best for the industry, not just best for one side or the other. It doesn't matter if you're Republican, Democrat, this, that, the other, black, blue, red, I don't care. We need to make the best decision for the people as a whole. And I'm not talking about the people that have money. We're talking about the people to help bring others outside of poverty up, lift them up, help them out in some form or fashion, because I believe that's what Satoshi Nakamoto traditionally meant in general for this Bitcoin cryptocurrency to be. It's something that we can all transact with. The average Joe can get involved. I can send you money in Spain. You can send me money in Italy, and we can trade goods or whatever electronically online. It doesn't matter. Mad Money's Jim Cramer offers advice on cryptocurrency investing. If you don't know who Jim Cramer is, again, stop living underneath a rock. If you don't know what the Ethereum merge is or Jim Cramer, then you're messing up. But he says a couple quotes here that I'm just going to read to you. We're not going to go too far into this article, but he says, I can't tell you not to own crypto. I own crypto. I own Ethereum is what he says. Then he goes on and says, I would prefer that you would do it in Ethereum or Bitcoin, which have the largest followings, ... I would be careful. And he also says, I would never discourage you from buying crypto because of all the fortunes that have been made there and how it could make a whole new group of people's fortunes. I'd like that to be you. I'm sure you would, Jim. I'm sure you don't give two about me, but thanks for your positive vote anyway. He's got a point though, right? So this is a gentleman that a lot of people heed his advice. A lot of people watch his shows. So when you have people like this saying, and he's been a supporter of cryptocurrencies for a while now. That's not the point. But he's kind of steering people towards the top coins, right? You don't want to go for out of almost 20,000. We're almost at 20,000 cryptocurrencies, guys. That's crazy. Out of 20,000, almost 20,000 cryptocurrencies, there's only a handful that will stand the test of time. There's only one for sure that I know will. Even though this is not financial advice, I'm pretty sure Bitcoin is going to be the one coin that's going to stand the test of time. Ethereum, probably going to be the second best, right? BNB or coins that are tied to exchanges or made by exchanges, I don't really trust too much, but BNB seems to be a more stable one out of all the exchanges, especially when you got all these pop-up exchanges coming up, shutting down, and switching over. throughout my tenure, throughout my time in the crypto space, I've seen exchanges come and go. I've seen exchanges Ponzi scheme or take your money, your transactions failed to complete, and then they close down, file bankruptcy or whatever, and then their local government has to go over them, but you don't get the money. And that's not just Mt. Gox; it's multiple, right? Anybody remember what was it? Cryptopia? Is that what it is? Cryptopia. No, that's not it. Exchange. There's a number of exchanges. Yeah. So I think Cryptopia was one of them. But I could be wrong. Hit me up in the comments or let me know down below. But so we got some positive news, right? We got various individuals saying, hey, cryptocurrency is good. We got our political figures trying to regulate it in a positive way. Because in order to get that influx of new money, or I guess you could say old money, really, there needs to be some regulations, some safeguards in place that will help people out. But because of the rise in inflation, the consumer price index being at 8.6, a lot of concerns, a lot of worries of where the market's going to go, how it's going to go, the stock market being down, then yeah, 100% people are worried about getting into the damn game. And I don't blame them. All right. Right now I'm in a position where I don't really have money. Like, I got to sit back. I got to chill. YouTube's not making as much as it did. Interest in cryptocurrency is down. So my channel is down. Now, thankfully, I have other tech content, not just crypto, that's keeping the channel generating revenue, but it's not enough. Right. And so with the price of everything going up, like my electric did go up, guys. So your electric bill, if it's not already up, should be up shortly because of what's going on with the economy, which is going to impact miners. We're not earning as much. We're earning the same amount of cryptocurrency, but we're not earning as much as far as taking that cryptocurrency at the end of the month, selling it for a decent profit to pay for the bill. Now, I can still pay for the bill, but I don't want to sell it, right? I don't want to sell it, but my cryptocurrency, my overall electric bill is up. So I'm not in a position right now where I have the capital to just go dumping on new coins and stuff like that. But because I still believe there's still I'm not going to say a lot. There's still quite a bit of pain left in the market that we will feel over the coming months. I'm going to wait for those lower discounts to come on. Now, those discounts may never come and I missed the boat. Oh, well, it doesn't matter. I don't have the money to get into it. So only dollar cost average, only put in what you're willing to lose or what you can afford to lose, and don't use your rent money to go buy Bitcoin and expect it to be up higher than by the time you go to pay rent. By the way, thank you, Wasted Trash Panda. F Big Tech and the government. Love you, Serpy. I like that name. I like the nickname you gave me there. But yes, it's very concentrated, man. The rich keep getting richer and the poor keep getting poorer. Middle class is no longer middle class. Anyways, American Express adds first crypto product with Abra rewards card. I mean, this is positive, right? So another positive news situation, but it's not enough. We're getting all this positive news, but it's not enough to bring the markets up, right? So we're just going to have to wait and see how things pan out, especially as it continues to follow the traditional markets. So while American Express has scotch hopes of cryptocurrency linked credit card anytime soon, the card giant has confirmed hints made earlier this year that it will be offering crypto rewards, teaming up with digital assets major services major Abra. And consensus 2022, Abra crypto card will allow users to earn crypto back on any purchase, no matter the amount or category. Card holders can choose from any of the more than 100 cryptocurrencies supported by the platform with no annual or foreign transaction fees. The card will also come with MX offers for shopping, travel, dining, and services, as well as pre-sale ticket access and purchase protections. So, yeah, anyways, cool. Whatever. Next, we got PayPal. All right, now PayPal, before all you could do was buy and sell the cryptocurrency. I could just keep it in my wallet, hope that it goes up, sell it, or keep it in my wallet, watch it go down, and hodl it. But now you can send it to, various addresses, right? So your hardware wallets, paper wallets, other exchanges, whatever it may be, you can now send that out to other individuals. Say for example, you want to move your Bitcoin to not Coinbase, Cash App. You can do that if you have verified with Cash App, you should have a Bitcoin address in which you can send your funds to. But yeah, pretty cool. PayPal has announced that users. This isn't cool for me as in like, oh god, yay. It's more like more people are gonna gain more exposure and start to learn. Okay, this is how I send Bitcoin. All right, my mom is getting involved. My dad's getting involved. My uncle, my aunt, my sister. My cousin who's got a phone that doesn't deserve one is getting involved. We open the doors for more people to get into crypto space. That's the cool factor for me. So PayPal has announced that users can now deposit and withdraw cryptocurrency to and from their personal wallets. The feature has long been expected, as company executive had discussed its addition for the last year. PayPal introduced limited crypto trading in October 2020 and added commercial crypto payments in March 2021. Now they also did lift the limits. They did lift the limits. I think it was like a couple $100. Now they lift the limits so that way the big money or bigger money can get into the space. So this is a positive, right? This is a very positive. Son of a text in here says, I covered bottom based on average US miner cost, and it's technically 31K. That's being said pure electrical cost only says 22K. Okay. So yeah, unfortunately for me, my problem is I have to run the AC a lot more, even with my new AC unit. I told the guy, you guys only, all right, real quick, sorry. There's more news, but real quick, I gotta get this off my chest. I told the gentleman, right, my original AC had 18 years on it. They generally last like 10 to 15 years, depending on the usage, stuff like that. So my old unit superseded the average age or the average time frame in which an AC unit will last. Well, it started to go off. Son's graduation, have a big party. AC is not working. He comes by, puts refrigerant in it. It wasn't refrigerant, right? As I'm like, you know what? I'm tired of you coming out. I appreciate your help, but let's just go ahead and get a new unit. I warned him. I said specifically, are you sure it can handle? Are you accounting for the air capacity that the grow tent is pulling in and putting out, right? Because we got cool air coming into the tent, then it exhausts out into the attic, and then the solar vent up there takes that air and puts it out. I tried piping it out and over the wall. It didn't work out that well. It just reduced down too small, and it made a bigger restriction. Because that airflow is going so fast, and I'm replacing the air in that tent so fast, the AC, especially when it's 96, 100 degrees in Florida, is running a majority of the daytime. Now, on average, I think during the summertime, an average AC unit might run 14 to 16 hours, so that's normal. But I didn't want that. I wanted more energy efficient. I wanted a bigger handler. Yes, it would increase the humidity to have a bigger handler per square footage, but if you take into account the mining rigs, how much heat they're putting out, how fast they're flowing the air through, I would have outstripped the humidity, or I would have outstripped the amount of air that would have caused the humidity. So I needed a bigger air handler. I warned him. He didn't listen to me, and now I have a lesser air handler. So I'm in the middle of dealing with that BS, and I'm very upset. I'm very disappointed because I warned him. Even though I'm not an AC technician, I researched, I did the maths, I looked it up, I looked at the airflow, I looked at the temperatures. I have a K-type thermocouples in both the top and bottom of everything, so I can measure everything. Like, I'm not stupid, and I told you this is what I needed. And instead you went with whatever the house had before, or whatever the going rate or the going unit is for a house with my square footage. You didn't account for what I'm actually doing. And I've seen people do this so many times. People come up to my door and like, oh, we could get you solar panels, blah, blah, blah. It'll be covered by your energy company or your state, whatever. I was like, open the door. I'm like, look back there. You do not understand what you're up against. This is how much amps I'm drawing. This is how much power I'm using, right? Solar panels by itself ain't going to do it. I need a lot of solar panels. I need very efficient solar panels, and I need battery banks. Can you do that? Oh, no, sir. No, never mind. It's like, see? So you guys got to make sure that these people that are trying to help you out understand what they're getting into. Because clearly the AC technician, really nice guy, really great guy, very neighborly. He is a certified technician. He's been helping me out for years. We did this during the winter when the grow tent wasn't available or wasn't set up yet, right? And the air temperatures outside and inside were a lot cooler. So now that it's summer and now we're hitting close to 100 degrees, heat index even higher than that here in Florida, I'm pulling that much air that much quicker, right? As the heat goes up, the hot air in the tent starts to pull the cool air in faster than what it was with just the fans. So it's just a problem I have to deal with, and that counts into the electricity. I will figure out an issue problem. I will make sure that he takes care of it because I paid him pretty well for it, and we'll see how things go. That type of stuff I don't put on the channel because you don't need to know my dramas. You don't need to know my business. Anything that I can share with you guys about experience, issues, problems, how-tos, tips, I will share. But as far as the behind-the-scenes dramas and bullshits that I deal with, you guys, I'm not going to waste your time with that. But I thank you for your support nonetheless. Hackers return about 15 million to Optimism after sending Ethereum co-founder Vitalik Buterin a chunk of stolen funds. The reason I bring this up is because of this article. Researchers detail how cyber criminals targeting cryptocurrency users. They're basically using a lot of Web3 wallets, sending you emails. For example, when Ledger had that data compromised and everybody's emails were kind of exposed, that got data dumped somewhere where these people can go and try to do phishing emails. I get phishing emails all the time, and it's quite unfortunate because spam calls, phishing emails, all kinds of stuff. It's on the rise. They're targeting popular exchanges or popular applications. For example, Trust Wallet, MetaMask, the Coinbase Web3 wallet or Connect or whatever it might be. OpenSea, what we had, not OpenSea, but Bored Ape Yacht Club had issues. Their Discord or whatever got hacked. Their Discord got hacked. So hackers are targeting these particular applications, and they're making away with people's hard-earned cryptocurrency. I say hard-earned, but it just depends on who they are. Miners, I say hard-earned. If you just traded it, then you didn't hard-earn it. You just got not lucky. Some traders know how to call it. I'm not going to start beef between traders. Traders are cool. But yeah, people are losing their money because they're falling for scams. Like, you shouldn't be clicking any links in the video description, or not the video description, but the video comments saying SerpentX, hit me up, WhatsApp, Telegram. Stop falling for that crap. They're so hard to keep up with. You can't stop them. Then you get emails to your you get phishing emails to your account. And even maybe your personal account, maybe your account that you never use for any cryptocurrency exchange, but yet because it's tied to you, the hacker or individual found it in a data dump and is now targeting that email. And you never pay attention. You click the link, and the next thing you know, your MetaMask, your Binance Smart Wallet, whatever, is compromised. So you just got to be very careful. But for Optimism, about 16 million worth of governance tokens, OP, were stolen from them, and when the hacker kind of messed up. So over the past few hours, the address opened a line of communication with Wintermute on-chain, and 17 million of 22 million OP has been returned. On Thursday, Optimus shared that an attack had happened after it aimed to send funds to the liquidity provider Wintermute, but did so to the wrong address. Once it realized what happened, Wintermute began a recovery operation, only to find the hacker had already taken control of the funds. Wintermute then asked the hacker to return the funds promptly and threatened to fully dox them and contact law enforcement if not. Before returning the 17 million OP, or $15 million, to the platform, the hackers sent 1 million to Vitalik. They said, "Hello, Vitalik. I believe in you and just want to know your opinion on this. By the way, help to verify the return address and I will return the remaining after you. And hello, Watermute. Sorry, I only have 18 million OP, and that is what I can return. Stay optimistic!" Exclamation point. Very stupid situation, honestly. Very stupid situation. Either the hacker is not really a good hacker, or somebody messed up at Optimism, or something happened. But I mean, these attacks are not going to be going away anytime soon. Even though the interest in cryptocurrency has died down, the payouts for hackers to implement these attack vectors on various exchanges, wallets, stuff like that, has not. And so if they can make a pretty penny, going after some person who didn't take the time to really verify their code. They come out with this new project, come out with this new wallet, come out with this new app, and the hacker exploits it. That's on the developer. And the hacker does say, I know it hurts when people are attacked, but shouldn't they learn something from those hacks? So it's nice that they got it back. Hopefully they learned what the hell happened, and hopefully they learned to fix it, update, patch it, stuff like that. I don't really know what optimism is. I never seen it, never heard of it. Let's go look at it real quick, and then I'll look at some of the things in chat. So if you have any super chats, questions, I will get to it right now. For the last 20 minutes of the show, for all my future viewers that watch this later on, thank you for your time. I hope you have a wonderful day. Please do me a favor, hit the like button, subscribe button, notification bell to stay up to date. Let me know your thoughts on the whole Ethereum situation, what you think of the political situation as far as the senators trying to work from both sides of the aisle to regulate cryptocurrency. How do you think that would impact your country if you're outside the U.S.? And any of your thoughts on any of the topics we cover here today. So thank you for your time. Moving on to my live viewers. Optimism is now a low-cost, lightning-fast Ethereum 2 L2 chain. Open source, permissionless, decentralized, same thing as everything else. Okay. Devs hands-on, simple, elegant, click. What are you telling me that I don't already know? What is this? What is this? Okay. Optimism ecosystem. No review of apps and integration. Okay. Interesting. Anyways, they got hacked. They got their money back. Lucky bastards. So Bitcoin down to 28,000. I have a position in around 27.5, 27.3. Yeah, I think 27.3. What's up, veteran miner? All right, Optimism. Thank you, Son of a Tech. Optimism is an L2 rollup for ETH, basically scaling solution for Ethereum, just like everything else. But unlike Polygon, it's not a pure sidechain. It's a replacement for sharding. Okay, thank you. Is it worth getting in? Is it worth messing with? Let's see what it stacks up here. Yeah, not really. So it's on good markets. Okay, cool. It's at 74 cents. Got $180 million worth of 24-hour volume. Decent market cap. So it's no slouch. It's no slouch. Layer 2 blockchain on top of Ethereum. Optimism benefits the security of Ethereum mainnet and helps scale the Ethereum ecosystem by using optimistic rollups. Okay, rollups like you said. $35 protocols, biggest being synthetics, a derivative exchange, Uniswap. Okay. All right, cool. Arbitrum is better. All right, thank you. This allows them to bundle transactions, submit them to Ethereum blockchain. Same to Arbitrum, no, same thing, no hacks. All right, cool. We need a proof of stake to save the world, but we need proof of stake to save the world. We need a lot more to save the world. Proof of stake isn't going to save the world. I'll tell you that much. So let me go through the live chat here while we look at the worst prices in a long time. I figured this was coming as far as the market continuing to be down, but I was hoping it would last a little. It wouldn't last as long. But then as I saw the traditional markets getting hit, what are you doing posting an address in the live chat asking people to donate to you? Get the fuck out of here. What's wrong with you? Sorry. All right. Son of a Tech cover that. What's up, veteran miner? How you doing, brother? All right, cool. So right now the market is, well, I mean, everything's down, guys. Like, what is there to say other than if you're a miner, continue to mine? Like what do you want me to, what do you want from me? There's nothing we can do about it. So everything's down. The channel's hurting. It's not making as much as it is. Son of a Tech knows what I'm talking about. But it's nothing we can do. Nothing we can do whatsoever It's quite unfortunate, but hey, you know, ish happens. Things get better over time. Just be patient. Yeah. 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 S&P. Yeah. I don't know what to say. This sucks. Um, so as long as the traditional markets are down, we're gonna be screwed, guys. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I don't want to say it, but I'm gonna say it. We're screwed as long as the traditional markets are down. We really need to decouple from it, but I don't see that happening anytime soon. There's a lot of uncertainty that scares the out of people, so they're not going to be willing to dump any more into the market. Now, there are people that are willing to buy the dip, right? Like, people are buying up Bitcoin in droves when it dips. 100%. They are buying it up. And I do not blame them. I would too. If I had the capital, I would too. Now, we did get a nice little mark right here. Last time we had that mark, guys, we did pump afterwards. So we're probably gonna go on a nice little pump. That one wasn't a big one. That one wasn't a big one. So it just depends. That one wasn't a big one. So if you're trading this range, technically, you know, get a little bit right now and then sell 29.5. Not financial advice, but you know, if you play this range, which is, we look at the hourly, it's basically between 28 and 30K, basically. And we've been moving sideways for a long time. There's the first Bart Simpson, the second Bart Simpson. Then we try to go back up again and been dropping dramatically. And I have a feeling if we fall out of 28K, we could probably see 26, 25. That's just my personal opinion. I'm not a TA guy. I just know how to look at the charts. I think we're gonna fall even more. I think a few people are actually calling for 20K, which it is possible. It is certainly possible. But I don't know. There's a lot of people that are, even though the hype is gone. What is the fear and greed index? Fear and greed, fear and loathing in Las Vegas. Gotta watch that show. I haven't watched it in a minute, or watched that movie. Yeah, man, look at how much we've been in fear. The market doesn't know. There's so much uncertainty. They're like, oh my God, inflation. Oh my God, gas. Oh my God, milk. Oh my God, my house. Oh my God. Everybody's just panicking. Like, I'm just gonna continue to work my ass off, work my full-time job, take care of my family. I'll continue to make content for you guys, even though I feel like the content I'm making is not really getting the what do you call it? The views it should be. But people aren't interested in crypto right now. As soon as it starts pumping, they'll be all over y'all. They'll be all over you. It's like, back then you didn't want me, now I'm hot, you're all on me. You know, like Mike Jones, like it's serious. It's exactly what happens. They don't want to talk about it, and then when it pumps, they want to talk about it. So anyways, the crypto markets are feeling the pain. I think we'll be all right. It's just going to take some time. Don't overexert yourself. Don't take your rent money and go buy some S coin. Just chill out, all right? Chill out. What do you guys think about the Ethereum situation? 22K bottom base coin and mint. Hey, what's up, brother? I'm live right now. All right. All right, bro. That's my boy. All right, so 22K bottom base on cost to mint. It goes lower than 22K, it goes to 0. Okay. So that's similar to the number that you were talking about. That won't happen. It may dip below briefly, but recovers the price to mint. You know, honestly, son of a tech, do you just want to just jump on a call and join me? I mean, I usually end at 12, but I'm more than welcome to just have you come on and talk for a little bit. But this call was pretty important. Matter of fact, let's see if I can find that comment. It made me laugh up. Pre-meeting update to my charts per day, 7-day trailing average. It does, the devs definitely want to stay away from that 20-second block time. Definitely can tell that much. Do nothing makes it worse. Do nothing does also make us work hard and deliver sooner, which they're trying to push for as far as the merge goes. They are really trying to push. I'm on YouTube, but let's jump in your Discord real quick. I'm gonna go on our Discord, the group one, and let me get my headset. I'll tell my boy I'll call him back later. Go into live show channel. Back then you didn't want me, now you want me. You want to do a private call? Okay. Hang on, guys. I'll bring you involved. Yo, can you hear me? Oh no, you see my dirty laundry in the back. What are you doing coming out of there? Jeez, hang on one second. Hang on. Let me change my audio. Okay. Why won't you let me change my audio? There we go. Default. All right, can you hear me now?
I can. Good sir. How are you doing today?
I'm doing good, man. I'm doing good. Let me switch this over. It's one of these cameras. Hang on. There we go. Let's pop this bad boy out. So, what's going on with you? How you been?
Good, just hanging out. I was trying to study up on Web 5 so I can make a not dummy video about it, but it's taken some time to get my head around Web 5 and exactly what they're trying to do. It looks like it would run across a completely separate like public port. So you know how like you have HTTP with port 80 and HTTPS with like port 443 or whatever, right? It looks like they're going to create one for DID : / which would basically be like your personal identifier on the blockchain, so that you could store all your credentials essentially straight up on like your own blockchain, or you know, your own signature on the chain, and then that would be presented to the rest of Web 5 for authentication, so you're no longer relying on a third party to store your identification, right? So right now the way it works is like you create an account with Facebook, they store all of your personal information and they authenticate you. And then like that's where you start to get like all the cross authentication, all that through whatever, right? Like log in with Facebook or log in with Google or whatever that may be. Instead, you would just log in with DID or whatever, Web 5.
And that whole login with Google, login with Facebook, a lot of people did that because it was just ease of use, but then there's a lot of inherent security risk with that.
Right. Yep. So it's pretty interesting what they're trying to do with it. I'm trying to get a script ready for tomorrow. But it's Jack Dorsey and his like project. So it's not directly under Block, so it's not monetized. It's an open source project, but it looks pretty interesting.
Nice. So we'll be looking forward to seeing what you come up with on that Web 5 and your overall thoughts on the aspect. So what about I saw your video on the Ethereum you know, like how profits are should go up as far as mining the actual yields of that cryptocurrency like Ethereum.
Right.
But what were your thoughts of the dev call and the overall discussion, the back and forth that the devs had on the topic? Because we had three choices. We had delay it, do nothing, and what was the other one? Just remove it. And remove it was one that I said, and I believe Bispy Trippin called for it, but we knew that was probably not going to be an option. But what was your overall thoughts on that?
Right. So I think like obviously like they're not going to just remove it because the removing it provides the potential for miners to fork into another chain. And the problem with that is that the ecosystem is so large now that sure we could talk about like Ethereum Classic being able to support pretty much everything as far as like devs could migrate it, but it would take a lot of work, right? If you have a fork that has pretty much everything built into it, the ETH's built up to this point that just forks straight over to proof of work. They move to proof of stake. The stakers can't withdraw their stake. All the staked ETH depegs because everybody's going to be pulling their staked ETH out. And they can't match that because they can't actually unstake it. So these large companies that are doing the staking pools, right? Then you have just a complete collapse of Ethereum. That's potential, right? And everybody moves over and just moves over to the proof of work chain. They can't have that. They can't have a competing chain that gets forked off that's functioning, right? So removing the difficulty bomb's not going to happen, right?
Right.
That's just not possible. I guess there could be arguments that maybe there's something I don't know about that would prevent that as well. Sure. I'm a dummy when it comes to that, but just from the top-down perspective, if I look at it from an ops perspective, that's what my initial thoughts would be. As far as like not delaying the difficulty bomb, it's pretty clear that their initial projections were way off. We weren't supposed to hit 15-second block times until July 15th. It's June 11th now, and we're over, 14.6 average? Something like that. I could look up the stats. That was yesterday. I think it was like 14.6 seconds. So we're already getting close to the 15-second, and that means that it was accelerating a lot quicker than they expected. With the slowdown of the block times, the mining rewards are getting low enough to where miners with higher power costs would have to start shutting off, right? And other miners would start switching to other algorithms, right? So to maintain the security, they need to make sure that the miners are getting paid enough to maintain security up until merge, right? So sure, they may have some backdoor deals going on with like HUD 8. I know we've talked about like a lot of the sneaky deals between HUD 8 and like Nvidia this week. It's possible that the HUD 8 had said that they had been, they're very close with the ETH devs. How much of that is true and how much of that isn't true, I don't know. But someone like them, one of those three large farms that would be working with Nvidia and Ethereum in tandem, could be colluding to maintain security regardless of the situation monetarily. But that's assumption, and I don't have any proof to back that up other than that brief quote from HUD 8 that said that they were close with Ethereum devs. The other interesting thing we had was we're starting to get the nomenclature of this being referred to as ETH 2.0 again, right? Which is kind of weird because we had one talk at Consensus from Charles Hoskinson where he said ETH 2.0 wouldn't happen before 2023 and wouldn't happen until more than likely 2024. Now, I don't know what kind of information he has on all of this, but that brings up some questions there as well. The way it was pitched is that the block times are going up faster than expected, therefore they need to delay. But that doesn't necessarily mean that's the truth. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Why would the block times be higher than they expected or were anticipating is a profound question in my mind.
Well, I guess they either are bad at math or something on the network happened that caused it. Now, we would say that block times go up when hash rate drops, but hash rate's not dropping on the network.
Right.
So that's not the case. So the unexpected factor the uncontrollable factor from the ETH devs is that the hash rate drops significantly, thereby increasing block times exponentially, right? Like that's the entire premise of that whole thing. Now, I don't know. I don't have an answer for you there. Like you bring up a good question, and that's kind of one of those things where it's like, well, Charles Hoskinson's now saying ETH 2.0 not till 2023. What does he know? I mean, I'm assuming there was a fallout there, so I don't know that he actually has any insider information. But from a technical perspective, him looking in from the outside, what is he seeing that makes him think that, right? And then is he specifically thinking about the merge? Because when we talk about ETH 2.0, the idea was that we were going to get all this other stuff like sharding, whatever it is. That's been removed out and replaced in favor of these roll-up scaling solutions, Arbitrum, Optimism, right? So we know that Arbitrum and Optimism are going to be taking the brunt of all the scaling solution problems. There is like something in the works where they've come up with this idea of dank sharding. But it's so far off that I don't even think that's a 2024 thing. I think that's more like a 2030 thing. At the pace that these developers work at right now.
Well, I've been talking to a few developers. Yes, they don't work directly on Ethereum. They work in various projects. And some of them are saying that they too agree with a delayed merge. Now, I don't have any evidence to back that up as well, but just in conversation with them, the reason is because they see the amount of work that needs to be done, that's left to be done, and how it's getting crunch time and they're kind of getting pressure. Usually when you're under pressure, you make mistakes, and we don't want to make a mistake. We don't want them to make a mistake with this overall ecosystem. But devs that I talk to say not August, September, but end of this year, even 2023, which would kind of align with what Charles Hoskinson said. They're still saying August. I'm still calling for October, August, September, but it's a game right now where it's crunch time. You got half the team that's like, don't delay it, let's just go, let's get this done. And you got other half of the team is like, well, we're gonna make sure this is good, go through our checklist, everybody's all on the same page.
Yeah, but the arguments for not delaying it are things like the environmental impact of proof of work, which is like, okay, you've already been doing it for almost like a decade now. And so these two to 4 months is going to be a significant environmental impact that the arguments to not delay it didn't make sense to me.
No, and I agree with that. So I do agree climate change is a real thing that we have to deal with. And by the way, just so you know, the viewer, we're combating climate change issues or the current climate conditions that were created years ago, right? So us delaying it is not going to change anything. We're still going to have to combat what we did during the industrial era and all that good stuff. So it's significant, but it's not as significant. Plus, there's so many other industries, data centers, and other stuff that use more than what we use.
Look at the laws in New York that make no sense too, where they're banning any cryptocurrency miners from using traditional generation, right? Like ones that like coal plants or whatever it may be. But the data centers are fine. Or Washington State yesterday, right? They come out with this and they tell them, well, it's specifically on cryptocurrency mining. So what does the cryptocurrency miner do? He changes it into data processing. Same amount of power, same amount of generation, still allowed to operate, same impact on the environment, just a slightly different industry, same exact equipment. So the whole attack of like the environmentalist aspect onto cryptocurrency mining is just smoke and mirrors, in my opinion, at this point.
I wonder, where did he get those numbers from? He was very specific in the amount of numbers and the amount of carbon dioxide that's being outputted because of mining. I wonder where he got those numbers from.
Which one?
During the dev meeting, I forgot the gentleman's name.
Oh, okay.
But they were like 100 and some thousand some carbon dioxide per day per minute. I don't know what the numbers were, but he was oddly specific about how much carbon dioxide mining is putting out into the atmosphere, or how much is putting into the world. But I mean, okay, so Ethereum stops mining, right? We stop having that carbon dioxide or whatever impacting the environment. What about all the other situations? Are we gonna complain about those and make them change?
No,
update?
because there's too many lobbyists for big tech for that to happen, right?
Exactly.
Like the fact of the matter is that's all data centers, right? That's centralized control of your data, and there's too much money behind that for them to do anything about that, right? They'll talk about the cars that the anything that the individual utilizes to make their lives better, whether that be a vehicle or cryptocurrency or whatever. If that impacts the environment, then boom, gone. Anything that impacts any large corporation that's affecting the environment, it'll stay. It'll just maintain. And that's the fact of the matter, right? Like, and I don't know how you combat that from the individual standpoint, because like we see with Ethereum, especially in blockchain, if anything, what we've experienced with like the great hash rate migration and stuff like that is that the hash rate is so decentralized and cryptocurrency is so decentralized that you cannot influence an entire population of just the miners even to make any sort of significant change, right? So, which is a testament to how well cryptocurrency is working though too, right? So that it's almost kind of what you want to see, even on a chain like Ethereum that we see is manipulated at the dev level, right? So, I don't know, like, I think it's a positive what we saw, but like I said, I think it comes down to the fact that like most of what appears to be put into place for policy only affects the individual. It doesn't seem to affect large corporations or anything like that.
And I actually watched a documentary about that the other day, of how corporations or how the individual Exxon, all right, and I'm sorry to call you out, but so the research they did to identify that what we're doing, the emissions and all that stuff impacting the world, and it all became ads, right? Instead of them changing the way they do things and how they do things, it all became ads of how you, the individual at home, can improve your life, right? Drive an electric vehicle, do this, do that, make sure you save water. And so I agree with your statement. And it always becomes an us problem, while the big corporations are like, oh, I just bought some carbon credits. Like, by the way, carbon credits aren't really helping. They're helping, but they're not helping. They're not making an actual change in the world. But yeah, what did Microsoft CEO or whatever ex-CEO did? He just goes and buys a bunch of carbon credits. But he does have a lot of scientific stuff that I'm interested in, which is carbon capture, rather than just buying carbon credits, carbon capture. But we'll see these different technologies evolve over time. But as far as an Ethereum perspective, it's not a reason to rush the merge, especially when you're dealing with billions of dollars in an ecosystem that if they mess this up, which it's already, to me, I feel like they're discouraging new investors, new venture capitalists, any new money from coming into the space because of how disorganized this whole situation is.
It's kind of already messed up, right? Like at the end of the day, like Ethereum's kind of already messed up, and it's just we like it feels like a lot of the industry just likes to pretend that moving to proof of stake is going to solve everything, and like I don't think that is genuine. Like I don't think you've sat down and thought about it enough. If that's like the savior of Ethereum, right? So I don't know. We already have all the issues with. I always bring it up every time, but MEV is a significant issue there. I think that as far as the scalability, that's an issue that's really not being addressed by Ethereum themselves. Obviously, that's moved out to third parties, the Arbitrums, the Optimisms, the Polygons, all that.
Too, yeah.
So everything that was needed from this upgrade doesn't seem to be implemented. The withdrawal factor is extremely scary. No withdrawals. I don't know where that puts anybody. Like, I wouldn't want to stake Ethereum. Like, looking at it from an investor perspective, like, I wouldn't touch it. Now, I'm not a financial advisor, and I already don't participate in that type of stuff, right? But from my perspective, if someone was like, hey, like I have this investment, you'll get 5% of the asset every year, right? Maybe 8% at best or something like that, right? 5 to 8%. We can't guarantee the price of the asset will go up or even remain the same. Once you've invested, you'll only get that 5%. You're not allowed to withdraw your initial investment. So, are you interested? I'd be like, nah, bro, I'm good. Like, might as well buy a car at that point. Like, no, I'm good. So I don't know that that's a very sound path forward, either.
Somebody posted something earlier about Lido or STETH losing his peg.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about yesterday. STETH is essentially, so Lido is a staking pool. So let's talk about how this goes. So a lot of people are worried that if the merge doesn't happen, STETH, which is basically a wrapped version of Ethereum on the Lido chain, representing, or not the Lido chain, but anyways, it's representing a staked portion of Ethereum within the Lido ecosystem. Okay. So let me walk you through this. The idea is if the merge, right now you can buy the STETH, the staked ETH, which is a wrapped version of ETH, which is a wrapped version of a staked ETH on the Beacon chain. And Lido will custody that Ethereum because they have it wrapped up in stake. And then they said you can't withdraw it until the merge. Okay. Here's the problem is like what people are saying is that essentially if the merge gets delayed, people will start selling their STETH, right? And it'll depeg from Ethereum. It already has depegged a little bit, like by I think like 3% or something like that. So if the merge doesn't happen, that would depeg further, basically collapsing that. And of course, Lido can't unstake their ETH to basically make it whole again, right?
Right.
Because it's stuck. The point that people are missing is that happens regardless of the merge because there is no withdrawal function post merge.
Yeah, that's a big concern for many users that are in it.
So what happens with everybody that has staked ETH? All of a sudden, it unlocks, the Lido portion unlocks, and they're like, okay, you can sell all your staked ETH, but Lido still can't unstake their ETH because there's no withdrawal function. So all that staked ETH is going to depeg no matter what. You better be selling that shit now, bro.
Right?
Like now, even if it is only 3% down, you need to get rid of it because what people don't understand is like, I see all these articles. We talked about it yesterday. We see all these articles like, well, if the merge doesn't happen, then everybody's going to start getting nervous around staked ETH and then it's going to depeg. And I'm like, bro, they can't withdraw the ETH that they staked anyways post merge. So the same problem exists. Actually, it's worse. Like post merge, it's worse. You're just going to have basically, it's going to completely depeg.
Yeah, but this goes back to what started this conversation is everybody thinks that proof of stake is going, or the merge, ETH 2.0, whatever we want to call it, is going to solve the problems that is on mainnet. And that's not the case, right? With MEV, this whole situation, like you just said, right? So just because the merge happened doesn't mean you can instantly unstake your ETH or anything like that. That's got to be a functionality that's eventually built in. So,
and there needs to be a distinction that people need to understand between what is actually staked ETH, like a 32 ETH node running both the execution and consensus layer, right? And all of the fake staked ETH that you're buying in platforms like Coinbase, Lido, whatever it may be, right? That's all faked ETH, like basically, wrapped versions of it. And when you have that set up, well, you end up with a Luna UST situation is what you end up with. But at a much larger scale. And the whole bottom comes out. Like the entire ETH ecosystem collapses if not handled properly.
What's the word I'm looking for? Shit show. Okay. Anyways, iMineBlocks it just tweeted out, unfortunately, he's selling his GPUs to buy ETH. Well, okay. I love you, iMineBlocks, my across the sea friend. Be careful. Godspeed. So, what what did we find out from? Let's summarize something that we talked about already in depth. What did we find out regarding the great hash rate migration? We found out that we can't influence a decent portion of the network. We can influence some, but we can't influence a decent portion of the network. So the network's decentralized. Everybody's keeping the network secure. But
Well, I think we also saw that there was somebody that turned on a whole bunch of extra hash power because ETH hit an all-time high.
right, well,
The day of the migration, 1.15 petahash came online, which is the all-time high for the Ethereum network.
they saw that people were moving off, and there was an opportunity there for them to cash in on.
They thought.
They thought there was, yeah.
I think it ended up being the worst profitable day for Ethereum ever, too, at the same time.
So we know that a majority of the ASICs run the Ethereum or have the Ethereum hash rate, but GPU miners do make a good portion of it. Now, going back to block times, with their prediction, the delay, by the way, is June 29th. Excuse me. Is the fork happening on June 29th, and that's the one that has the EIP proposal, and I forgot the EIP number.
Yeah, 5144. That's off the top of my head. Don't quote me on that. I think it's 5144.
And that's on June 29th, and that's what's going to
That
delay the
adds
difficulty
in,
bomb.
that delays it resets the difficulty bomb.
Resets,
right?
okay.
So I think technically the difficulty bomb still continues to roll. It just restarts. It's like hitting a reset button on your Nintendo or whatever.
Yeah,
And
so you
then
reset
boom,
the timer.
I'm back at the beginning. But it's not a delay of the bomb. So I guess that's where some confusion comes into play. Is it's not like it's not like the delays that we've seen before where they delay it to a certain time and then the bomb goes off. My understanding is it's just a reset of that timer, and then in mid-August we'll be at the same point we are difficulty-wise today.
And that gives us a little extra time, gives the developers a little bit extra breathing room. But coming back to the ASICs and the hash rate, I wonder, there has to be some variable that we're not aware of why the block times are higher than they anticipated, which is what you called out earlier when we were talking. But I wonder if these manufacturers that are working with ETH are outputting more ASICs, and their plans to be even more hash rate as we continue to go along. Because I'm not seeing a significant amount of people drop off. Like GPU miners, like while there are some saying, yeah, I'm going to Ergo, I'm going to Flux, screw this, I'm out. It's not a lot.
We have 3 major facilities that we are now aware of that have a special GPU from Nvidia that way outpace anything else on the market. I know a lot of people are wanting to say like 4000 series. Not true. 4000 series is not looking good for mining, so that's out of the question. Some people were saying, the CMP 200 or 220 HX, out of the question in my opinion. I think we are looking at data center grade GPUs with HBM2E hitting well over like 300 megahash a second per card. And I think we have 3 major facilities out there running it. And I think that, unfortunately, there's just backdoor talks that we do not have with them. And I know that, like, as far as mining hardware goes, we saw that a lot of people were purchasing up a bunch of equipment last year. And they are not getting, like, even the large players are not getting those shipments until, like, right around now. So there's probably huge orders that went into Nvidia for cards like that for companies like HUD 8 that are going to come online.
And so we're just going to see the difficulty bomb get pushed back. The block times at least give us a little breathing room, but we're going to have an increased hash rate, which is going to be increased difficulty, which is going to
Potentially,
be
I think a
profits.
majority of that is going to be focused on Bitcoin. But I think that there is potential that someone like HUD 8 had an order with Nvidia. Because we saw all the way through Q1 of this year, Nvidia was doing crazy crypto mining sales that they were hiding from everyone.
Yeah.
So we know that orders through Q1 of this year were still going into place, pretty high levels of it. The dip didn't happen on the actual manufacturing side until Q2. which tells me that there is potential that there is manufacturing being done in Q1 of 2022 for mining, specifically for GPU mining, which would obviously be focused on Ethereum.
And those data center type GPUs or enterprise grade level type GPUs with the HBM2, you got to think about it, right? So these ASIC manufacturers, the boards that they utilize and stuff like that, that's manufactured in China, right? If Nvidia just focused, took out tensor cores, ray tracing cores, and just focused on, hey, we want to make the best mining card ever, they can make some really powerful cards. And that's probably where you're talking about these back alley deals that is going on, because it doesn't really matter to Nvidia. They're still making a profit, and they don't want to publicize it because then the gamers will be up in arms and pitchforks and everything. So it's really,
it's like, we'll just do this over here. And if we're using like we know what's needed for mining, fast memory with a massive bus and low core count. Like we don't need like a huge core count, right? So it doesn't necessarily, if they're going that route, which I'm pretty sure they would be going, it doesn't necessarily impact their gaming line or from a manufacturing standpoint, right? So you're not using the GDDR6 or 6X, right? So you don't have to worry about that. To your point, they're not utilizing the tensor cores or the ray tracing cores. They can probably cut down all the way back to like Maxwell on the actual die if they wanted, right? My assumption would be probably all the way back to like 20 series, like touring or whatever. But it makes a lot of sense from a manufacturing standpoint to generate additional income, to utilize all these old parts, and all you really got to do is upgrade the memory, which they want to manufacture more of for the data center. But the fact of the matter is data centers don't need as much processing power as like a cryptocurrency mining facility does on sales wise, right? I mean, typically right now with the power of those data center GPUs, they're putting 1 to 2 in per box, right? They're not putting in 8 to 12 per box, right? So it's a much different scale for sales opportunity.
Well, when you have that much compute power in a package like that, you only need 1 or 2 to get the job done, at least for a data center operations. So what about this theory? So going back to block times, we don't know why they were thrown off guard, because you said it was either they're bad at math, which I doubt. I'm pretty sure there's some pretty good mathematicians there, or there was something that they didn't account for. We don't know that unknown factor, but what if the ASICs don't have as much hash rate as they thought, or we're like, instead of it being like 60-40 where GPUs are 40 and ASICs are 60, it's actually more like 51-49. We actually have a pretty decent hold still. We just didn't have everybody join us on a great hash rate migration.
I don't know that would be the case. I would have thought that maybe they expected like these parts to be shipped out sooner. Maybe more hash rate was supposed to come online quicker. But then also with all the electricity hikes and then a delay in manufacturing, right? The supply chain shortage, none of that really ended up panning out. Because if Hut 8 is telling the truth and they're talking to Ethereum developers, then maybe Hut 8 was like, yeah, by Q2 of 2022, we'll have, another 0.5 petahash or half a petahash online. Maybe they were telling them that, and then they didn't. I mean, that's a possibility.
Yeah, supply chain hits are still very much impacting.
I don't know about the ASICs thing though. I just don't.
I think the ASICs control majority of the net hash. What do you think? Is that what your synopsis still? So, all right. What about?
Well, I mean, I take that back. With this new information coming to light with Hut 8 and their partnership with Nvidia, I have no idea how powerful these GPUs are. Like if we took, I mean, I know that I have seen like HBM2E with a lower bus. Like I've had some friends in the industry send me some ETH hash rates, and I've seen them cranking out 275 mega hash a second a pop. Right? So if there's some modified mining version of that out there, then no, maybe it's just these special GPUs, not necessarily ASICs.
That's true. And FPGAs are
It's
still an option. They're just not as profound or not as
Yeah.
much as the ecosystem.
It's still the same problem, right? Like ASICs and a special GPU from Nvidia that's only being sold to a certain
It's
group
still
of people
centralized.
is still the same freaking problem. Like I'm not discrediting the problem. I'm just saying now I'm arguing semantics of like, well, what is it really, right?
Right.
Technically, they're GPUs on the network, but there's just a shit ton of them, and nobody in the public can get them.
Speaking of nobody in the public can get them, I want to go about two things before we wrap up. One is the 4000 series GPU. You said a little bit earlier that it's not as good at mining, supposedly, speculation, I'm assuming, as we believe. And let me give my thoughts on it real quick. So it seems that Nvidia is taking a playbook out of AMD's, Nvidia is copying AMD. And what I mean by that is,
Right.
if you notice, AMD with the 6700 XT only did a 192-bit bus. They still had the same memory and everything, because if they did, like a 256 or higher, they would have competed. The 6700 XT would have done the same hash rate as the 6800, because the 6800, the 6800 XT, and the 6900 XT all make the same hash rate, 64.
256-bit bus, yeah.
Yeah. So if they didn't drop the bus down to 192-bit, then the 6700 would have competed with those, undercutting themselves. And so Nvidia is, from my understanding, and I could be wrong, I got to go look at the latest leaks, but the 4000 series is going to use the same method, right? They're doing it at the hardware level, where they're using a lesser bus, lesser memory bandwidth.
There's more to the story here, though, too, because we're also seeing an architectural change in GPUs, and that's specifically what you'll see is that it came into play with AMD. So you're correct in that Nvidia is copying AMD, but where did AMD make up the performance in traditional rasterization? Was within Infinity Cache and Cache. If you go look at the specs for the 4000 series, what they've done is they've quadrupled or even 10x'd. It's something insane, the amount of L2 cache on the GPU.
Yeah, it is absolutely crazy. So the AD102 has 96 megabytes, AD103 64 megabytes, AD104 48 megabytes. But you may not know what those numbers mean, so I'll have to find what the current ones are. I'll be right back. What is the L2 cache? Yeah, the L2. Wow. Are you kidding me? The 3080 L2 cache, if this is right, is only 5 megabytes.
Yeah, they 10x'd it. And so there's what I'm saying is it's not necessarily purely to prevent mining. It is an architectural change within the industry that's happening. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because if you have that faster access to the cache, the developers can move stuff off to that cache that was previously being stored right inside the memory. So I think there's an architectural change going on there, and I think that's part of the natural progression. And I think for traditional workloads, it makes a lot of sense. There's another point that should be made here too, is that AMD is increasing their bus width on the 7000 series on the top end models to 384-bit. So we're going to get faster memory at the top end for AMD.
I think AMD is putting pressure on Nvidia.
Well, they're also, if you want to compare cache to cache, they're going to have 256 megabytes of L2 cache.
Damn.
So it like 2.5 times what Nvidia is doing with their upgrade. Like I think for traditional workloads, like the 7000 series is looking to be poised to really put a hurt on the green team.
And that's good, right? So that's good, healthy competition. There was so many years that Intel was not challenged, 10 years that Intel was not challenged. AMD brought it back with the Ryzen series, really coming out, hit the punching with the 1000 series. 1600X was a good CPU, and then here we are, the 5000 series. Even though it doesn't have that single core performance, right? The 12000 from Intel has taken that reign back. But I mean, for price to performance, AMD's just killing it. They took it to Intel. Now they're making the next target, Nvidia, and I think you're 100% right as far as them putting a hurting on Nvidia with the
Well,
7,000
one of the
series.
thing there's from the mining perspective too, we need to point out that the 4000 series is going to require a full-on PSU upgrade to ATX 3.0 support, so you don't blow your caps.
100%. But what about I thought AMD was copying the same standard.
Nope, AMD just announced that they're going to be still utilizing the 8-pin PCIe, and their power consumption is incredibly low. It's going to be 400 watts at the top end for a 384-bit bus.
Damn right. Thank you, AMD.
So the best price to performance is going to come, or best power to performance is looking like AMD right now. And that's via WCCF Tech yesterday and the official announcements from AMD. So I just got those announcements yesterday. I can link it to you. Pull up my show from yesterday.
Honestly, bro, it's like really hard to keep up with all the latest news that's coming out.
That's why I
crypto
started doing the morning show every day, because otherwise I can't do it. Like, that's kind of like part of the problem, right? It's like there's just not enough. It was actually 2 days ago, so 2 days ago. I think. Let's see. Was it really 3 days ago? I can find it here.
Well, that's the exciting thing to me. So a lot of people who mine for profits, and I understand that mindset. I understand, making that extra money. It's basically a side job, depending on how many rigs you got, how many GPUs you got hashing. For me, it's all about the tinkering. Like, I like to distract my mind, and my way to distract my mind is to sit there and, like, originally it was overclocking, right? Pushing a card or a system as hard as I can on air. All right, now let's go to AIO or custom loop cooling. All right, let's go to putting an AC unit and a big fan in front of it. That's really where this stemmed from. But then I started mining years ago, and it's just like, okay, what's the best hash rate we can get for the lowest power draw? And that tweaking, especially when new hardware comes out, I love it.
And then we're gonna get a 256-bit bus at 300 watts. I just linked it over to you.
Yeah,
Those
I
are
got
all
it.
the specs. The question we don't know is if it's the upgraded memory speeds or not yet. Because presumed, if you recall, TSMC had announced that I think the memory speeds for GDDR6 were getting an upgrade to like 19 to 21 gigabits per second. If it's at the top end of that, these things are going to be absolute beasts. Like, you'll be getting 120, like at the top end, 125 mega hash a second at like 300, 280 watts, 300 watts, something like that. Once you tune it in. Plus, you got to remember that with AMD, you get access to pretty much all the voltage controls.
Yep, where it's not as locked down as Nvidia. The one thing I would love to see, and I don't know if it's still being worked on, is just like the 5000 series from AMD, the Red BIOS Rebellion team with the Red BIOS editor. I would like to see something for the 6000 series, right? Maybe after it's locked down, so they can't do it from my understanding.
Yeah, it's locked down, so I don't see that happening. If it was gonna happen, I think they would have already done it.
Right.
So, I mean, there's always the possibility that more comes out, like way down the line. Like what? Team Red Miner just got R mode for the 5000 series activated, and it's not even really fully functional yet, at least in my opinion. But, there's always potential for something like that in the future. But my assumption would be, like, obviously, if they crack the 7000 series, then they'll crack the 6000 for that. But I don't really have much faith in that happening. What was really odd was the 60 or 6x50 XTs, right? Like,
yeah,
worse mining performance but higher memory speed. It really doesn't make sense other than what the best I can tell are the memory timings are too loose.
Yep, I'm still using it. I got a dual BIOS switch. I got one where it's a 6900 XT and one where it's a 6950 XT.
Yeah, I
can
couldn't
switch.
get the 67 or the 66 to flash over. I tried both.
Yeah, it's I don't know. Maybe the 6950 XT was closer to its sibling than the other two were. But it's not worth it. It's not worth it. Matter of fact, by the way, I will be selling this card because I'm broke and I need the money. If me signing it and selling it on eBay will get it more money, I will do that. But I will post it in the community on Twitter or something like that. It'd probably be through eBay because I need that dirty fiat because Daddy's got to pay the bills. Anyways, the 6950 XT was utterly disappointment, but I like doing stuff like that. Like I'm the guy that if there's a grenade, I'll jump on it for you guys. Make sure that the community knows, like, hey, this is a bad card, don't do it. Son of a Tech's done it too, right? Got a card, doesn't perform as well, warns us, tells us, hey, this is what it is, and that stops users from going out and buying a card unnecessarily or making an informed buying decision, which is the goal. I haven't been as quick to get the cards because I don't have a micro center, and because of the pandemic and everything, it was like really hard to get these, especially online with bots. And I don't bot, so I haven't been as good as getting it off rip, getting it to you guys, getting the data to you guys, and going from there. But I will try to do my best. When
I do gotta
Intel,
sign off. I gotta go to jiu-jitsu, so I gotta sign off, bro.
Yep. Well, I'm gonna wrap up right now. You got 2 seconds so I can wrap up?
Yep.
All right. But we'll see how the market shapes up long term. Hang in there, guys. Keep stacking them sats, squays, whatever you want to call it. But thank you, Son of a Tech, for joining us. I want to make sure that you guys give him a follow. I'm sure many of you who follow me follow him, but just make sure you go and subscribe, hit the notification bell for both of us, hit the like button on the way out, and you guys have yourself a wonderful day. We'll catch you in the next one. All right.